don't know, my name is Chris Moore, and in today we got a battle going down. Yeah, that's right, guys. We're on the dyno, and we got two amigos out here that are challenging each other, talking trash. We got one contestant A. We got a 2019 Yamaha R1. It has a Graves 3/4 exhaust system, which is basically a slip-on with a cat delete pipe. So you can see basically from here back has been replaced, from here up is all original. Now, this bike has a Sprint P08 air filter, and other than that is pretty much all stock. These guys have came all the way from the state of Alabama. They rode their bikes here 5 hours away, and it's raining outside. So these guys here are some real riders. Big shout out to them. Thanks for coming. Contestant B is a 2018 GSXR 1000. It also has a slip-on exhaust. It does still have the catalytic converter. So this is going to be a real interesting battle to see who wins out. Normally if the cat was on the GSXR or off the GSXR and they had full exhaust, I would say, yeah, maybe GSXR wins in horsepower wars, but this is gonna be interesting. This Graves exhaust is a very nice piece for this Yamaha R1. I think it's gonna do really well, and then let's see what the old GSXR can do. All right, guys, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you like what you see, and as always, we appreciate you. Stay with us, here we go. All right, guys, we're about to do the baseline pull on the Yamaha R1. I have not done a horsepower test on it yet, but I have just drove it on the dyno, and I have seen that this thing is crazy, crazy lean in the cruising around areas. Now, I haven't went wide open with it yet to see how far off it is there, but listen to the hesitation this thing has just when I'm holding it 5,000, 6,000 RPMs, 60, 70, 80 miles per hour. In fifth gear, the bike's got just it just hesitates or is struggling just to maintain RPMs. Also, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? This is the all brand new GoPro 9. We are recording in 5K. Of course, YouTube does not have 5K to upload to, but supposedly when we upload to 4K, the quality is gonna be even better. Make sure you click the 4K option and let me know what you think. All right, guys, baseline pull coming up. So we just got the ECU out of the R1. If you have an R1 and you want to know how to remove your ECU, I'll drop a link in the comments below, and you can, or in the description, I'm sorry, I'll drop a link in the description, and I got a tutorial video on how to remove the ECU. But first I want to show you why it's so important to get the ECU flashed on these bikes. I'm going to show you some of the things that we can do. So we can, one, disable the top speed rev limiter. We can disable the exhaust valve. So what that means, basically the servo buddy that a lot of guys want to buy whenever you do an aftermarket exhaust. Well, no need for that. We can turn that off. Disable the stock O2 sensor, so we can turn that off as well. So if you delete your O2 sensor, no need for a check engine light. We can disable the D-cell fuel cut. So what that means is when you're riding and you're on the throttle and then you go back off the throttle, the injectors close off completely. It's not giving any gas. And then it makes it for an abrupt transition when you go to resume throttle and give it gas again. Well, when we disable that, when you let off the gas, the injectors are steady spraying. That's my spraying just a little bit. So instead of spraying a lot, they spray just a little bit. And anyways, it keeps the bike much smoother when you go to transition back onto the throttle. Another thing we can do is we can lower the fan temps. We can change the openings for the moving up and down of the not pair valves, the moving up and down of the velocity stack. So Yamaha has a moving velocity stack in there, or we can change when those open and close to change the different, I guess you would say, power curves on the thing. And another thing we can do is we can disable the pair valve. So if you do the engine block off plates that a lot of companies like Graves and whatnot make, we can disable that so you don't get a check engine light. But the main thing that we got to do is whenever we go in here to the ETV table, that stands for electronic throttle valve, we got to take these restrictions off these things, boys. So this is our RPM table. You can see as we go down the line, we go up to 14,000 RPMs. And then when we go over here, this is our throttle percentage column. This is 100% throttle. So when you go wide open throttle, Yamaha goes wide open throttle there. That is 11,000 RPMs. It only stays wide open till 11.5. Then after that, it goes back to 82% throttle at redline. It also, at 6,000 RPMs, it's only at 60% throttle. So we reduce, basically the bike has a governor on it. So even though you're wide open, the bike, no, is not wide open. So anyways, we're gonna remove all those restrictions. Pretty much all the new bikes have this same BS going on with them, and it's in every single gear too, guys. It's not just in one gear or another. It also has reduced ignition timing maps, so we're able to go in and change those as well. You can see on the R1, the ignition timing is not where it should be. Now, I'm not going to tell you where it should be. That's for me to know and you to ask questions about, but it is definitely reduced. Another thing, we can also change the rev limiter. Is 13.5 from the factory. We bump it up a couple hundred RPMs to give it a little more power. And you'll see where this thing went in and made 169 horsepower from the factory. We're about to flash this ECU and see what we can get out of this thing. All right, guys, we're almost finished with the tuning on this R1. These guys out here, they talking junk. They getting ready. They're ready to head down to the lovely state of Mexico right after this. So just so you know too, the owner of the GSXR 1000, he has his own YouTube channel. I'm gonna drop a link in the description below so you guys can go and check out his channel and see what goes down with these two in real life on the street. So we got 179.96 out of the R1 so far. We're trying for 180. We're still not 100% finished. Let's fire this thing up and see how it sounds. Also watch over here on the screen, the air-fuel ratio. So if you're new to the channel and don't know a lot about tuning, the 18.0 you see on the screen right now, that is the air-fuel ratio. 18.0 is as lean as the dyno will read. The lower the number, in other words, like 10.0 is lower than 18.0. The lower the number, the richer the bike is. In other words, the more fuel. When we first started with this thing, all the cruising around stuff, it was barely coming off 18.0. So in other words, the bike was not getting nowhere near enough fuel. Now that we have tuned the fuel curve throughout the whole entire RPM range and the whole entire throttle percentage range, we got the air fuel ratios just where we want it, and the bike is going to be so much smoother. So take a listen to the way it sounds. Also keep an eye on that air fuel curve, and you'll see what kind of differences we make. This Yamaha sounds so mean. talking is going down outside. We finished up with the final numbers on the R1. 180 horsepower, 0.00, and 78 foot-pounds of torque. Now the 169, that was our base run horsepower. And you can see pretty much everywhere we had nice, significant gains. We also extended our rev limiter, so we got a little more power out there. We went from 167 to 179 horsepower. That is huge gains. Right here we went from 164 to 178. So big gains everywhere throughout the RPM curve. Even as soon as you hit the gas down low at about 5,000 and 6,000 RPMs, we went from 76 to 85. So those are significant gains as well. So overall, R1, ECU Flash, and slip-on exhaust pays off to be huge gains for not a ton of money. Highly, highly recommended. But now let's see what goes down with this Suzuki. We're about to unload the R1. We're gonna put the Suzuki on. We're gonna see what the difference is. And then go click the link in the description below to the owner's YouTube channel and see what kind of real world street results they have. Be sure to subscribe to their channel and follow them so you can see what kind of goes on in the real world, I guess you say, on the streets. All right, guys, time to get the R1 unloaded. All right, guys, we got the Suzuki loaded up on the dyno. We've already made a couple pulls. We're getting the air-fuel ratio close to being dialed in. This is a 07 Suzuki GSXR 1000 with a Austin Racing slip-on. It does still have the catalytic converter. It does still have the exit valve for the exhaust. Now the exit valve I am controlling through the ECU Flash, and I am keeping it open pretty much all the time so we can actually control all that stuff in the ECU. But this Austin Racing slip-on, it's definitely loud, it definitely sounds good, but we are getting this thing dialed in now. I'm gonna fire it up, let you hear how it sounds. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think about the way this thing sounds versus the Yamaha? The Yamaha has a completely different, unique sound that not everyone, basically none of the other bikes sound like. Check him out on Instagram too. This is the owner, and he'll have a link to his YouTube description on there as well. For a slip-on, guys, this thing sounds excellent. Super neat, super loud too. I'm really impressed with the way it sounds. All right, we're about to make some pulls on this thing and see what it's got compared to the old Yamaha. Tuning on the GSXR 1000 with the Austin Racing exhaust. They out here talking trash. They're talking trash. So We ended up with 177.07 horsepower out of the Suzuki with 80 foot-pounds of torque. And we ended up with 180 horsepower out of the Yamaha with 78 foot-pounds of torque. So I've got their runs overlaid here on the graph. The blue line is the Yamaha, the green line is the Suzuki. So in certain spots, the Suzuki's making a good bit more horsepower, and then in certain spots, the Yamaha is making a good bit more horsepower. So you can see how just the different combinations, how the different engines make power. You can see the Yamaha holds torque out here better, but overall the Suzuki makes more torque. So, and the Yamaha comes up and goes on a flatter torque curve. So everything is just two different engines. One is a cross-plane style engine. The other one is a traditional inline four. So that's just a good example of how, you know, different engines can do different stuff. Now keep in mind, both of these bikes do have slip-on exhaust. Both of these do have unrestricted and flashed ECUs. But the Suzuki does still have the catalytic converter, which is holding it back a little bit. The Suzuki also has 18,000 miles on it. The Yamaha only had, I don't hold me to it, but 1,000 or so miles. So either way, not saying one thing's wrong with one bike because I'm just stating all the facts, letting you guys know the difference. So for today, Yamaha Nation, stand up. You guys took the cake on this one. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button. And as always, we appreciate you. Check us out, moremafia.com. Pick yourself up some merch. Rep for your team. Help support the channel. We got hats, shirts, stickers, all kind of good stuff. Hoodies are soon to come, guys. It's getting chilly outside. Hoodies are on the way. Stay with us. All right, see you.